it up, and they said no, and they actually took it away and they hid it. Put it in a hiding area, which of course was revealed pretty quickly. All you have to do is send a couple of helicopters up. But they wouldn't let them use it. Under my leadership, we will seal it up and expand that wall till we have total control. But we did a great job on the wall, remember, with Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. Yeah, we'll give it to you next year. I said, nope, give it to me this year. Well, sir, if you approve this budget, we'll give it to you next year. I said, all right, that's okay. So I waited, then they didn't give it, you know? And yet Mitch McConnell approves $5.5 trillion for Green New Deal garbage. It's a disgrace. But I took it from the military because I considered it an invasion. So, Marjorie, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it right out of the military because they're invading our country. And I got it built, and we did a great job. We did it quickly, and we used the Army Corps of Engineers. They were fantastic. Before Biden came into office, we had illegal immigration at a record low. Refugees were at the lowest level in history. Human trafficking, women and children, was at the lowest in 30 years. And drug dealers were finding the U.S. border a very inhospitable place to be. It was very inhospitable. In my last year, less drugs came through the southern border than had been seen in many, many decades. We weren't playing games. Now we have complete chaos. Fentanyl is pouring in. Families are being wiped out, destroyed. And there's death everywhere, all caused by incompetence. Millions of illegal aliens are stampeded. Everyone is overstaying their visas. Nobody even thinks about reporting it anymore. My wonderful travel ban is gone. I had a travel ban. It was so wonderful. Refugee numbers are through the roof, and spies and terrorists are infiltrating our country totally unchecked like never before. When I'm back in the White House, the very first reconciliation bill I will sign will be for a massive increase in Border Patrol and a colossal increase in the number of ICE deportation officers. And I want to thank the Border Patrol. These are incredible people. And I want to thank ICE, and in particular, I want to thank Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, and Tom Homan, Central Casting. He's Central Casting. Under my leadership, we will use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane asylums, and mental institutions, and sending all of their problems right into their dumping ground, the USA. Think of it. They're emptying out their prisons, and you've heard me say that, but they're also emptying out their mental institutions. And to use a strong couple of words, insane asylum. Insane asylum, that's where, anybody see Silence of the Lamb? That's where they come from, insane asylum. That's a stronger word than a mental institution. And they're putting them into our country. Thank you very much. I will ask every state and federal agency to identify every known or suspected gang member in America, and every one of them that is here illegally, and the towns know who they are. The towns and cities or the police. We love our police. The police know who they are. And we will pick them up, and we will throw them out of our country, and there will be no questions asked. We had a problem when I first assumed office in 2016. It was a big problem. We'd have these people, we'd round them up, MS-13 gangs, the worst people. These are absolute brutal killers. They used to knife 16-year-old girls because it was more painful. It would take longer to kill her. These are real animals. And Nancy Pelosi says, how dare you call them animals? These are human beings. I said, no, they're not. But these are real animals. And we couldn't get them back into their countries because the country was like, especially three. You take a look at Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras in particular, and Mexico to an extent. You couldn't get them back in because they didn't want them. They sent them out in the first place. You know, they forced them into our country, just so you know. These are very smart people that run these places. They're very streetwise. So I said, what's the problem? Sir, we have thousands of people, but they won't allow us to land the planes. They won't allow the buses to cross the border. They won't allow them back in their country. I say, how much money do we pay to these various countries? Sir, we pay $750 million a year. I say, all right, inform the country that we're no longer paying any money. And if they ask why, you can tell them that. And, yes, sir, we'll do that. So the following morning, almost simultaneously, early, about 8 o'clock, I got calls from all three at one time. In fact, I had to tell two of them, I'll call you back. Because they all came in right on time, Matt. Right on time, like you call on time. And what happens is they came in and they called. They said, sir, there must be a misunderstanding. We would love to have MS-13 back in our country. And we started dropping them off by the 10.
Texas homeowners, if you are sick of paying too much money for electric bills and you have a meter that looks
of thousands, and I still hadn't paid them back their money. I kept it. Figured let's hold it as long as possible because they've been ripping us off long enough. To stop the flow of deadly drugs, it will be my policy to take down the cartels, just as I took down the ISIS caliphate that everybody said was impossible to do. A lot of parents in this audience that lost a child, that lost a loved one to fentanyl and all of the drugs that are pouring in, so many different kinds. Fentanyl is a big problem. In fact, with the ISIS caliphate, a certain general said, it could only be done in 3 years, and probably it can't be done at all, sir.